Hey everyone, my name is Chris from Meeple Overboard. I reckon that I'm live now. So today I am going through my top 5 games by the company Iello. This is one of those companies that has a strange name, and so sometimes people savagely mispronounce them, but it should be yellow, right? Just like the color, just like they're one of the main colors of the company is yellow, so it's not really a surprise. Um, Yellow games, I think I've heard them called Iello or something like that. Yeah, it gets rough. But Yellow games makes a lot of family weight kind of games, and you'll see that reflected quite a bit on this particular list. They also make some other really good games. They've worked with other companies as well, and I believe that they co-produced some of these games, or at least did U.S. distribution on them. I tried to make sure that uh, I tried to make sure that it is these are games. I don't know, for at least my experience as a United Statesian, that these are games that Yellow's name came stamped in the box. That I believe they like either co-produced with other companies like Blue Cocker or whatever. But maybe they just did distribution. But yeah, well, we'll see. Jordan says you missed the first half of my Yellow joke. Nobody calls me Yellow. Martin McFly. So I really like some of these games. Now, I really like some of the games this company puts out, and they have a whole series of games that are like the little like children's book games. You won't see those reflected on this list, but some of those are fantastic, and some of them our daughter really loves. And so, there's just a lot of good that this company has done. Interestingly, they started in 2004 just importing games, and then in 2011 they started to produce their own games. So, they've been in the business for a little while, but it wasn't that long. It's been less than a decade that they've been actually the publisher, not just a U.S. distributor. Uh, so a publisher for games. And what really helps is when you become a publisher yourself, and then you publish King of Tokyo within your first year as a company. That kind of helps. And so there is that's a big deal. King of Tokyo won't actually appear on my list though, because I think that there are other games that for me, for our household, for my style of play, are more fun. I say all of that, and yet there's going to be a couple of games on here that will probably be surprising, but hey, that's part of the fun of doing a list like this, because if there were no surprises, where would the fun be? So speaking of fun, let's go into my number 5, which is Fun Farm. Fun Farm is what I deem the genre of reachy grabby games. Much like spoons, you have stuff in the middle of the table, something triggers something, and you have to reach in and grab, right? How Fun Farm works is you can see that there's fun, different colored animal critters. And so there's the blue sheep and the green cow and the red horse and the yellow chicken and the pink pig, right? And something else that I'm blanking on at the moment. But anyway, there's 6 squishy animals in the middle. They're like stress balls, squishy, right? And you have these cards that are flipped over that will show like the pig. You have a black and a white die, each of them with 6 different colored spots on the outside. And so you roll them, and when you try and make the colors of the dice match the colors of the cards, and if they do match, you have to reach out and grab the pig really quick. You have to reach out and grab the horsey really quick or whatever, right? But the thing is that the black and the white die are distinct, so each card will show like white die red, black die yellow, and so if either of those trigger, then you reachy grabby really quick. It is a brain melting system. Like, it shouldn't be that hard. As a grown adult person, I look at it and go, I got this. And then roll the dice and I'm like, oh no, I'm like having a complete like synaptic pause in my mind because I'm looking for the black and the white die, and one of them is red and one of them is yellow. And I think that matches something, but which thing do I grab? Not the yellow or the red animal, the pink animal, right? It's colors every which way. I love it. I enjoy reachy grabby games. I enjoy them. They're not usually my favorite, but this one is my favorite of the bunch. I like it up there with Egyptian Rat Screw, the traditional card game. This is just, it's so fun to see your fellow human adults, just like, which animal is it? So I love it. So my number 5 is Fun Farm. Absolutely, absolutely a joy to play. My number 4 is a trick-taking game. This is called Nyet, which is Russian for Nyet. which is English for no. So how this game works, this is one of my favorite trick-taking games, by the way, because you're dealt your hand of cards and you look at it, right? And there's 4 suits, and it has this like quasi-communist, communist Russia, Soviet, or not, yeah, Soviet Russia theme on it, but they're all animals. I don't really know. It's cute, right? Some of the suits are like sickles, and the others are like hammers and stars, and it's cute that's the theme. But the idea of it being called Nyet, or no, is that what you do is you choose each round what the trump suit will be, what the super trump will be, which is different than super tramp. So the trump and the super trump, you determine how many points each trick one will be worth, and you determine who the starting player will be, all by process of non-voting or choosing no on things. So you have 4 suits. So for example, right, you might be electing which suit is the trump suit: red, yellow, green, or blue, right? And so before you start playing cards, you put out these tokens. You say Nyet, right? You say no on blue. Blue's not going to be the trump suit. And the next person says, no, red won't be the trump suit. So you're choosing which things will not be, one at a time, which is very clever, very smart, right? Because you're kind of giving away some information about your hand that way, but you're also shaping how the end of the round, or how the round will play out. And you're not just voting on one thing at a time. How many points is each trick one going to be worth? -1, or like -2, I think it is, 1, 2, or 4. And so if I might choose Nyet. I don't want yellow to be the trump suit. Oh, or I could say I don't want tricks this round to be worth 4 points because I don't have a great hand. I would love actually for them to be worth -1 point. So maybe I'll put out my no token on the 4 points. Well, I'm giving away my hand that I don't think I have a very good hand now. So the next person says, oh, I really want red to be the trump suit, so I want to vote out the other ones, but maybe I should get rid of that -2 point, per trick card. I don't have a lot of that trump suit, but maybe I can vote on the super trump. It's brilliant. It's not a good first trick-taking game because of this voting sequence, this anti-voting thing until you form it and then you play the trick-taking sequence. But if you've played even just a few and you understand those terms, what trump suit is, why sometimes you want tricks to be worth lots of points or fewer points, then Nyet is a classic. I think that you should absolutely check it out. I don't know if this is actually in print still or not. This one's, I think it's a little bit harder to find, but Nyet is super, super fun. So moving on to my number 3, Raids. I believe this is the newest game on my list. Raids, I didn't realize this is a Gilbert and Dunstan game. Brett Gilbert and Matthew Dunstan. That's cool. This is I reckon that you would call it a bit of a rondel game, or the move in a big circle and whoever's furthest behind gets to move next, right? Kind of like a time track game, like with Glenmore, or with Craftwagon, or Thebes, right? Whoever's furthest back, or Tokaido, whoever's furthest back in the little circle path gets to move next. This game does a few twists on it that are really good. It has a cute Viking theme. It has really striking artwork, as you can tell from the cover. One of the good things about it, though, that it does is it allows you to move, as many spaces forward as you want, but you get little benefits as you're the first person to cross certain spaces. So it encourages you. Sometimes you say, I might want to move like almost the whole length of the map. Why not? And then you also get different bonuses when you get back to the starting point at the end of each round. So it gives you some aim to move around and try and collect. But also to prevent the player in the back from being able to like wham, 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 hit up every little spot along the way, you discard those. And so it becomes very smart, very interactive. You collect these Viking Meeple resources, and you don't gain the benefit of a spot when you land on it. You gain it when you move away from it, which is important because as this is a Viking game, you can challenge people to a fight on spaces. I don't want Wendy to be able to take that spot there and earn 5 points. I'm going to ram my ship into hers. We'll initiate a combat where it's just a little combat. It's, I wager 1 meeple, she wagers 2, I wager 3. she doesn't want to put out 4, so she moves off the spot. And now I'm in that spot. And so then when my next turn comes around and I move away from it, I'll get the benefit. I'll get those 5 points. It's really clever. It's really good. I think this one kind of flew under the radar, but people should check it out because I think it's that fun. I think it is a nice twist on that move in a circle type of game. And the idea of whoever's furthest back goes. It does enough things that it makes it really interesting. So you're never just secure in any spot. And so I think because of that little combat mechanism and like as you pass certain things, you get benefits. As you pass certain things, you get, like you fight monsters. Monsters hit you, so you lose a few things. But other spaces are boon spaces. So when you pass them, you get more Vikings or some coins or whatever. It works well with the Viking theme for being such a silly, lighter family weight game. But I love it. I love it a lot. So my number 3 is Raids. My number 2 favorite game by Iello is Decrypto. This is, I know, in co-publication or in works with Scorpion Mask Games, who produces this game originally in French. But Decrypto is the gamer's version of Codenames. It's the more intricate, it's a little harder to teach and a little bit harder to explain, but it's, I think, more satisfying. Because how it works is each team, the black team and the white team, are trying to decrypt each other's words. There's only 4 words in the game per side, right? So on my side, I see these 4 words. They will be the same 4 words throughout the whole game. They're just in spaces, number 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm the clue giver for the round, I draw a card and it says 3, 1, 4. I need to make my teammates guess this hidden sequence, 3, 1, 4. They all know what the words are facing our side. I know what the words are. I can give them as obvious a clues as I want to, and they just have to guess 3, 1, 4. They don't say the words out loud. The words are secret the whole time. They just have to guess 3, 1, 4, right? But the thing is, every round that I give clues, the other team is writing them down and learning which spaces they're associated with, and so they are trying to figure out what could these words possibly be. And simultaneously, we're doing the same thing to them that they're doing to us. So every round, 2 teams are giving clues, the other teams are guessing on what the opponent's sequence will be, and if you can decrypt what their sequence will be based on previously given clues, then you'll win the game. It's so cool. It's so weird to have a word game where you have to give hints over and over and over again on the same 4 words. They don't change. It's not a different map, and you don't cover things up when they get got. You don't, it's not like here's the new password, right? It's same 4 words. How do you give 6 different clues about the word bumblebee without making it too obvious? If you're like yellow and buzz and pollen, right? The other team's going to say, okay, well, the next time that they give any word that is closely semblant at all to bumblebee, we're going to guess their sequence correctly because we figured out what one of the words is. If someone says transformer, though, as their first word, transformer can mean a lot of different things. And then all of a sudden you say, then you say pollen, and the other team is like, oh, I'm confused by this series of hints that they're giving now. Maybe they'll start to crack it a little bit, right? But the more weird you can get with your clues, the harder it makes it for your opponents because their team gets thrown off. But if you make it too obscure of a reference for your own words facing your teammates, they won't get it. And if your teammates mess up that sequence twice, if they ever don't guess it, you lose. If you ever decrypt your opponent's sequence twice, you win. It's so good. It's so good. If you haven't tried Decrypto, absolutely recommended. If you like the sound of that at all, the word thing, the team thing, right? Yeah, this benefits from having 4 or 6 players, maybe. I think 6 is kind of the optimal player count. So for me, it fits in the same range as Codenames. I don't like playing Codenames with like 80 people. And Decrypto is intentionally a little bit smaller, scaled down, but oh, it's so smart. That's my number 2, Decrypto. And then my number 1 game, published at least here in the United States by Iello Games. Like I said, this is also in a co-publication with another company called Blue Cocker Games. So my number 1 is Medieval Academy. This is a game that does not get enough love, does not get enough respect. Crystal Pisano from the Board Game Blitz podcast, and she's part of the Dice Tower, she loves Medieval Academy. I love this game. It's brilliant. It is a card drafting game, but one in which when you draft a card, you don't play it immediately, right? So you have a hand of 5 cards, you choose one, and then everyone at the same time chooses one, passes the 4 to the player on the left, and then you have this hand of 4, you choose one, and everyone simultaneously passes them over, and you just keep doing that. Now you have a hand of 5 cards, because you don't play them one at a time, you create a hand of 5 cards. And now in turn order sequence, you go around the table playing one at a time. And you get to move up on these different colored tracks. And you want to be furthest ahead on some tracks because you earn the most points. Sometimes you don't want to be the last person on tracks because you will lose points. And that dynamic changes just enough between them. Some of them only fire off at the end of rounds 3 and 6, right? Halfway through and at the end of the game. Other things fire off every single round, and so you're always balancing. Do I jump ahead on the big things? Do I jump ahead on these tracks and only fire off at the very, very, very end of the game? Or do I keep moving up on the ones that fire off every single round? Which do I do? Which do I focus on? And so I love it. It's so good. Other twist, you only play 4 cards out of the hand of 5 that you've drafted. So, and it does it so well where in a lot of drafting games, right, when it comes to the last hand, you're handed 2 or 1 card and you play it, you're like, meh, whatever. Well, you get to choose 4 of those 5 cards that you play, and sometimes you play that last card that's handed to you, usually when you have no choice, because now it gives you choice. And now you see in turn order people's movement and you see their actions, so you can react to it and you say, well, someone handed me this crappy 2 blue card, but actually I need that blue card to just get ahead of this person here just a little bit. I'm actually going to forego playing this 3 on the pink track because I'd rather play this 2 on the blue. And it's so good. It's so good. One of the problems for me, though, one of the few downsides I'll say about this game is I think that it plays best at 4 and 5. 3-player is okay, but you also don't award 3rd place on different tracks, right? And so I think because of that, the 4-player dynamic is it's so much better, right? Because you can then choose where you want to be. Even 3rd place on some tracks gives you a decent enough boost as long as you're in 1st and 2nds elsewhere. And then if you take nothing but 2nd places, but you take tons of 2nd places, you can still win the game. The dynamic of this game is so good, and I think more people should try Medieval Academy. It is my favorite game that Iello has produced, and absolutely think that people should be playing it. If you're looking for like a unique, good drafting game, something that does drafting just a bit different, it's something that's kind of that mid-weight between a Sushi Go and a Seven Wonders, right? This one fits right in the middle there. So that's my top 5 games by Iello Games. If you want to leave ahead go ahead and leave in the comments what some of your favorites are. I understand there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say King of Tokyo. I like it. I like it plenty fine, but I do genuinely have more fun with these 5 games, and I would rather pull out these 5 games more frequently. I also know that people are very, very keen to play, they very much like Hare and Tortoise. That's that first from that like children's book series line of games. And I've played it. It's really good. It's really good. I like it a lot. It's a bit more like it's not heavy, but it's a bit more thinky than reachy grabby grab animals, right? But our daughter will soon be of that age, I think, where she will enjoy playing that one. We already play Three Little Pigs. Like, there's so many good games that they put out there. Iello is obviously also known for giving away a lot of games in like the free game boxes, free game bags when you go to different conventions and stuff. They give away a lot of games, and the thing is that they're really good in that family weight game thing. So a lot of times a core gamer whose favorite games are like Mombasa and Twilight Imperium and Great Western Trail or whatever aren't going to look at the free giveaway Iello games and be like, oh yay, I got whatever this game is, I got 3 copies of it at home because I go to a lot of conventions or whatever. But for like making solid family weight games that are really fun, that's what most of these on my list are. I would say Decrypto is the only one that's like possibly a step higher, where you really want to play with people who are going to play it at a very, very thinky level. Jordan in the chat says King of Tokyo is a perfectly cromulent game, except he typed comulent, but I get it. Nyet is the commulent game. Soviet joke. In Soviet Russia, tricks take you. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, South Park is one they did with Horrible Guild that I like. No, not South Park. Steam Park. That was really weird. Okay, yes. Steam Park. Makes so much more sense than South Park. Steam Park is one I've never played, and I love the theme of theme parks. Right? Like, we just did a live playthrough of Meeple Land, and Meeple Land is super good. Super, super fun. And so we were in the chat talking about, just what are other good theme park themed games out there. I didn't think of Steam Park because I've never played it, but I've heard very good about it. You're making a theme park for robots, I think it is, right? And the robots like leave messes, like they poop out nuts and bolts, and you have to clean those up or something like that. Is that right, Jordan? It sounds delightful, and I think that has a very good look to it. Crystal, I've mentioned Crystal now twice because she loves Medieval Academy. But I think I was listening to the Board Game Blitz top, what do they call it? 1 in 100 list. So basically it's a top 10 list, but what they do is they go through each chunk of 100 games of the Board Game Geek rankings. So numbers 1 through 100, then 101 through 200, then 201 to 300, and they review, and they make a list basically of what is my favorite game out of this chunk of 100 games. Then what's my favorite out of this next chunk of 100? And I think that we might do something like that too, because it's a very fun way to look at favorite games. She mentioned Steam Park, I believe, in that episode of the Board Game Blitz podcast. So yes, Robot Theme Park. They make dirt. Okay, they don't poop out nuts and bolts like I was hoping, but they make dirt. They make it dirty. Cool. Well, when I have this, when we build this interdimensional portal, Jordan, between here, Las Vegas, and there, Omaha, Nebraska, we'll play 40 games of Can't Stop in person, and we'll play a bunch of, a bunch of one other ones and stuff. Can I do that stream with you, the 1 in 100? We might do it as an episode of the podcast. Why don't you hop on with us? Who cares, right? Yeah, sure, man. Let's plan it. Let's make that thing happen, because I think that'd be it's a fun. The Brothers Murph came up with a concept, so I want to make sure to credit them. It's not like they trademarked it. People can do it whatever they want, right? But I do want to make sure to give credit to the Brothers Murph for coming up with that idea, an interesting way of like dissecting your favorite games from a fixed set of different ones. So yeah, man, let's plan it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video because I have now ceased to talk about Iello games, and now we're just making plans about building interdimensional portals so we can finally go play some games. So anyway, my name is Chris from Meeple Overboard. I am grateful for y'all to come in to chat and hang out and watch this. And so hopefully, if I've missed some other games that you think are very worthy of mention, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear what other recommendations you have for Iello games, because they're a very cool company. I really like them. And so, yeah, I'd love any other recommendations that you all feel like leaving. Thanks so much for watching.